Good evening, my Real News Media TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update for November 13, 2023. And in the news this evening, bomb threat halts operations at the Kingston Wharves. Kingston Wharves Limited has suspended operations for today following a bomb threat at the wharf. Out of an abundance of caution and concern for the safety of its team members and customers, KWL has closed all its warehouse and the terminal facilities for the day, the company said in a media release on Monday. It said police and other relevant emergency personnel are on site, carrying out the necessary security checks. KWL says the public will be advised regarding the full resumption of operations. St. Catherine man drowned after vehicle runs off-road near Flat Bridge. A motorist perished in the Bogwalk Gorge in St. Catherine on Sunday after the vehicle he was driving plunged into the Rio Cobre. The deceased has been identified as Glenford Henklewood, 72 years old, of Cumberland in Portmore, St. Catherine. About 12:45 p.m., Henklewood was driving a Toyota Tacoma from the direction of Bogwalk when he lost the control of the vehicle upon reaching the Flat Bridge and drifted into the river. The vehicle sank and Henklewood drowned before he could be rescued. Investigations are continuing into the possible cause of the accident. CTOC detains 2, seizes gun and a vehicle in Clarendon operation. 2 men were detained following the seizure of an illegal firearm on the Chapeltown Main Road in Clarendon Sunday afternoon. The arrest and the seizure followed a special operation carried out by detectives from the Counter-Terrorism and Organized Crime Branch. It was reported that around 1:20 p.m., the detectives went to the Chapeltown Main Road where they signaled a white Toyota Probox to stop. The driver complied and the vehicle was searched. During the search, police said a black Keltec 9mm pistol, 2 magazines and 3 9mm rounds were found inside. The firearm, ammunition and the vehicle were seized. Both the suspects, one of whom is a taxi driver and the other a farmer, were detained and escorted to the Mapen police station for further processing. NIA wants House Speaker's ruling on tabling of IC reports reversed. Governance watchdog National Integrity Action is calling for a reversal of the decision by House Speaker Juliet Holness to end the practice of tabling all Integrity Commission reports upon their submission to the Parliament. Last week, Tuesday, Holness implemented a new rule which mandates that special and annual reports of the Commission will go to its Oversight Committee for deliberations first and then tabled later with the committee's own report. Investigation reports will be tabled as soon as possible after submission to Parliament, she said. However, in a media release on Monday, NIA said it was disappointed in the position taken by Holness, calling it seriously flawed. It said that given the ruling, the Parliament would have little control over when the particular report would be considered, as this would be entirely in the control of the government. It noted that the Integrity Commission Oversight Committee is chaired by a government minister and most of its members are from the government side. It also stated that the committee has met only 3 times in 3 years. The NIA added that the Parliament would have no say in whether a committee member whose conduct may be impugned in an Integrity Commission report sent directly to the committee may sit in consideration of the report. It is also unclear as to when the IC reports referred to the ICOC would become accessible to the public and the media. This would have the effect of reducing transparency and accountability in the governance of the nation, NIA said. The NIA stressed that all reports which are sent to the Parliament from the Integrity Commission should be tabled as soon as possible after receipt. It said thereafter, the report can be submitted to the Integrity Commission Oversight Committee for consideration. Jamaica under severe weather alert. The Meteorological Service has issued a severe weather alert for the island. It will remain in effect until 5 a.m. Tuesday morning. A large area of low pressure is forecast to emerge over the southwestern Caribbean Sea by mid-week. This area of disturbed weather has a moderate probability to develop into a tropical depression and move northeastward across the western and the central Caribbean Sea. The Met Service says in the event the system develops as projected, the island is likely to experience severe weather. Senator calls for death penalty for child killers. Government Senator Dr. Sapphire Longmore says a priority must be given to resuming the death penalty in Jamaica to stop the killing of children. Speaking on Monday with the news, Dr. Longmore said the murder of children is a public health crisis and the legislators must treat the issue as an emergency like the COVID-19 pandemic.
What is going to be the greatest consequence of someone who tortures and murders a child? They're going to probably languish in prison and get parole after some decades, maybe. We need to make it such that it is practical and it is applicable. Front burner stuff, put it as the priority. Just like how we had emergency situations such as the COVID-19 pandemic, and within 2 tools, what was necessary to be done to protect the public. This is a public health crisis in the form of our children being murdered.
Last Monday, 2 9-year-old boys and a man were killed in Salt Spring, St. James, when a taxi in which they were traveling was shot up by gunmen. The incident has since reignited discussion on the death penalty. At a press conference last week, Prime Minister Andrew Holness said his view on the penalty for murder has evolved given the barbarity of the acts of criminals. But a human rights advocate and Anglican priest, Father Sean Major Campbell, believes the death penalty is not the answer to addressing the systematic violence in the society.
We should seek to become a more highly evolved society in terms of becoming a more peaceful people, becoming a better self, a better nation, recognizing that modeling peace and love and rehabilitative approaches is going to be more wholesome than modeling violence to address a culture of violence.
Ethical concern raised about companies that do not alert customers to cyber attacks. Cybersecurity consultant Gavin Dennis says there is an unethical concern when companies are hacked, resulting in the personal data of Jamaicans being shared on the internet and the affected individuals are not notified. Mr. Dennis was speaking in the context of frequent local data breaches, the latest of which affected e-commerce platform Shopcourts and PressSmart on the weekend. He said companies risk eroding the trust of customers when they do not alert them to ransomware attacks.
One of my concerns with the data breaches that are frequently happening is that oftentimes the public doesn't hear about it first from the company. It has to be where someone goes online and discovers that, the company was hacked because the hackers are publicizing it. So data is stolen, which involves personal data, but the companies don't proactively contact the victims to say, hey, we had a security incident, your data was compromised in a ransomware attack, this is what was disclosed, etc. And so people just happen to find out from everyone else but the company that they gave and trusted their personal data with. So it's a bit less sensitive for the second company, but the volume of data that they claim to have stolen, it's significant, because this is the same group that also hacked a publicly traded company in Jamaica that's in the distribution industry, and they provided proof of the data that they stole. So I think it's just a matter of time before they show, yes, they do have valid data on the company, but the volume, which is about 500 gigabytes, is a significant amount of data to have stolen from a company. In general, they should be very concerned because there has been a consistent trend, especially throughout this year, where publicly traded companies are being compromised, privately traded companies are being compromised, government entities are being compromised. So there has been a consistent trend, and not just for this year, even throughout last year, where companies are getting hit with cyber attacks. Some of them are being compromised. A lot of data is being dumped into the public, which was stolen from these companies.
In a statement Sunday, Courts said that none of its customers' payment methods and the password information were exposed in the incident. The company acknowledged the data breach of the old e-commerce platform, www.shopcourts.com, but it said immediate action was taken. Courts said it switched the e-commerce platforms in September, the month after the hack. It added that data leak only contained information on customers who shopped on its website, but said the new platform enforces the measures and strengthens security levels to have a secure platform without any data breach. Mr. Dennis believes the private sector and the government should be more concerned and proactive in preventing data breaches, which he noted have been increasing since last year.